Well, here we are again, folks, looking at Dr. Sleep. This is the long-awaited sequel to The Shining. Dr. Sleep was released September of 2013. I know, I'm a year late. But this book is the reason why I went ahead and read The Shining in the first place. Because the brief synopsis interested me, and hearing an excerpt by King on YouTube actually caught my attention. He also made a comment about how Mark Twain followed up with Tom Sawyer with Huckleberry Finn, which later on became a classic. Well, Stephen King wanted to try to see if he could do that himself. I don't know if he did that or not, but I get two different allegories or meanings from both books. Both complement each other, so you be the judge. But nonetheless, I forced myself to read The Shining in preparation to read this bitch. And without further ado, let's jump into it. This book is about 500 plus pages, a little bit longer than its predecessor, and I really enjoyed it. If the first book, The Shining, was about a haunted hotel and personal demons, Dr. Sleep is about facing those demons and recovery. Now, I'm no alcoholic, but someone who has crippling fears, it really spoke to me. The beginning of the book begins with the acronym FEAR, which basically stands for fuck everything and run. By the time you're finished with the novel, the acronym changes to face everything and recover, which meant a lot to me in more personal ways than one. But I digress. We have Danny Torrance, a little boy. He's in his 30s and now he's an alcoholic. He ends up in a small town, finds a job, someone helps him, and he eventually gets into AA. And the book does pose the question, what if Jack Torrance was able to get into AA? What if things turned out a little bit differently? Now, throughout the book, we find out that the Overlook Hotel is still haunting Danny, but he's figured out a way to stuff him in a lockbox inside his brain, something that Dick Halloran showed him how to do. I know, it's allegorical, right? Because by the end of the book, he's gonna let all those things out of those lockboxes in his brain. His dead, alcoholic, borderline abusive father, the ghost of the Overlook Hotel who basically tried to influence Danny's father into killing his entire family, all that shit Danny locked away. But again, by the end of the book, he has to face all that shit. His fears, he ultimately lets go. It's kind of allegorical for life's baggage, whether it be fear, guilt, shame, anxiety, or whatever it is that weighs you down. Face everything and recover. Now, even though this is a continuation of what happens to Danny Torrance, a good bit of the book is by a little girl named Abra, like in Abracadabra. I don't know, but this book has a lot of magical references. Like there was a magician for Abra's birthday party, the villain of the book wears a eerie magician's top hat, and of course the girl's name, Abra. It's kind of odd, but I guess, okay. Anyway, if Danny's shining is a flashlight, Abra's shining is a fucking lighthouse. Which leads me to the villains of the book. I kind of felt that the villains were superfluous. They were just kind of thrown in to have a little bit of conflict. I never really felt too afraid of them. And I actually loved the idea of Rose the Hat, which was a leader of this Winnebago RV band of nomads who eats children's shining by torturing them and ultimately killing them. Now, the more they torture these children, the more it refines the shining as what they call the steam. But I never really felt that the villains were fleshed out enough. There was no real backstory. Because the idea of RV people that are haunting America's interstates and roads was a fucking awesome idea. But you never really find out much about them. Just that they're a roaming RV bunch across America that feed off of children's shining. Now, there is a twist later in the book that I'm not going to disclose, but I felt like it wasn't needed. It wouldn't have altered the main storyline at all. And if you read the book, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, there's one scene in the book that actually really creeped me the fuck out. It was when one of the RV people drugged and kidnapped Abra. Danny, using the shining, gets inside of Abra's head while she's being kidnapped. And then he uses her shining against her lone captor. No spoiler, but it was such an intense and vivid scene. And it had me really rooting for Danny and Abra. And it's one scene I won't forget for quite a long time. Okay, enough about that. I felt that we were just given enough information about the villains for them to feel a little spooky. And I wanted more from Rose the Hat, which was the leader of the RV people. Psychic vampires, if you will. The more shining or steam that they inhaled, the longer that they lived. I guess the longer that they'd stay younger. And of course, it made them physically stronger. But they never really felt like impending doom. Like, holy fuck, the RV people are coming. There's gonna be a huge body count. Yeah, not so much. Now, with that being said, the book is still awesome. Its predecessor, The Shining, was a claustrophobic, snowbound, haunted hotel. Dr. Sleep was more broader, moving state to state with the RV people. A lot of action and a really good read, ultimately coming to a head with Danny facing the villains. And everything else that haunted him where the Overlook Hotel burned down some 30 odd years ago. Yep, the RV people owned the land where the Overlook Hotel burned down, and they basically turned it into a fucking RV campground. Again, this was a hidden gem masquerading in a horror novel. Fear. face everything and recover, which means facing our fears, anxiety, addictions, our past, whether they're abusive or not. Things that hang on to us that make our world a bit darker. The book is about facing those things and recovering, which is why it meant a lot to me. If the novel can hit me with some well-meaning points by the end, something that makes me think long after I put the book down, it means it was a great fucking book. And Dr. Sleep was a great fucking book. Are there some weak areas? Yes. But it doesn't diminish it, nor does it diminish the predecessor, The Shining. King wasn't trying to reinvent the wheel with another haunted hotel, and I'm thank him for that. In the end, if you like reading books that gives you hope, that helps you cope with shit going on in your own life, pick this one up. Well, that's it. If you read The Shining or Dr. Sleep, let me know what your opinions are in the comments below. And remember, shine on, baby. Shine on. And well, yeah, it's got a cool cover. The cover right here, that's Rose the Hat. The letters right here, that's the steam, the steamage, the shining. But anyway, yeah, you can see the kind of an outline of a woman's face behind that smoky shit. That's Rose the Hat. On the back, red rum. That's actually early in the book when Danny tells his mother not to go into the bathroom because there's a dead woman taking a bath with red rum right there.